Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker Kim Childs of the Kim Childs team at Keller Williams Portland Premier Realty based out of Portland, Oregon. Kim has been a licensed real estate broker in the state of Oregon for 12 years. She is a Diamond Platinum member of the Master Circle, Portland Metropolitan Association of Realtors, the highest class of membership available. She is also a Portland Monthly 5-Star Real Estate Agent Award winner, an award that is based on client satisfaction for 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. One of her clients had this to say about her work in selling his home. Kim Childs is one of those agents you love to discover, the one who will go all out on your behalf, the one to whom commission is simply a reward for results and not the primary motivating factor in a client-agent relationship. Her job, as she sees it, is to help you achieve your goals. Kim considers herself a solution provider, navigating her clients from where they are to where they want to be, taking care of all the details and problems along the way, so the transaction is as close to hassle-free as possible for her clients. All right, with all that said, Kim, welcome to the show.
Hey, Keith, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And Kim, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
Oh, I kind of stumbled into it. I actually trained to be a teacher in college, and then I actually went back to school, and I was a certified public accountant for over 20 years before I got into real estate. And I was looking for something different and with a little more flexibility in the schedule. And what I realized after I threw my hat into the ring is that by and large, being a great real estate agent is heavily involved in project management, which is what I had done as a CPA for over 20 years, and it's turned out to be a great fit.
Excellent. And can you talk a little bit about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
Well, I think a lot of the things that I've done in my previous life and career have really contributed. But first and foremost, I think one of the things that's important is that I'm able to keep my eye on the prize. And by that, I mean that I always come back to what my clients want. So I keep their objectives foremost. And if I'm ever unsure if their objectives have changed, I always check in with them. And then past that, I'm a people person. I like people, and I understand why people do what they do. And I'm not easily frustrated or upset. So I'm calm in the face of craziness, which sometimes happens in transactions. And I'm always problem solving for my clients, and they like it.
Do you think give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Well, an example I can think of is I had a situation where I was representing a seller who was over 70 years old, and her son was very involved too. And offers we were getting on her home were just a little less than what they wanted, considering where she was going to move to. And the son was putting up a lot of resistance to the transaction. And I asked the seller, which is who I had the contract with and who I was representing, hey, I represent you, and I need you to tell me if you want this transaction to go forward or not. If you do, I'm going to make it happen. But if you don't, I won't. And she was a little bit afraid of her son, and she said, I want it to go forward. And I can say today she's happily ensconced down on the South Waterfront and pretty happy.
Excellent. And I think whenever somebody builds a successful business and a career, sometimes the path to get there is filled with bumps in the road along the way. Can you talk about some of the adversities and trials that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Well, I think some of the there haven't really been major adversities, I wouldn't say, or trials, but I think one of the major obstacles for any real estate agent is having some control over your time. For example, my phone number is very easily accessible, and I probably get 3 to 5 phone calls per day of people that want to sell me something. And, they think just because they got me on the phone that I should have a 10 or 15-minute conversation with them. It's also really easy to get caught up in a lot of the details and getting homes negotiated and closed, which is so important. But then if you spend all your time on that, at the end of the day, what you're going to find is you don't have any business in the pipeline that's going to close next. And so it's really important to keep lead generation as a daily activity that also deserves focus. And the only way to make that really happen is to time block and be intentional about using your time each day to prospect for buyers for my sellers and sellers for my buyers.
And I guess, as these obstacles come up for you, why don't you give up? What's your driving force?
Well, the thing that's so interesting about residential real estate is that it's actually pretty simple, but it's not easy because you have to keep refining your activities at different stages of your career. And, obstacles aren't something to shy away from. There's something to figure out and adapt what you're doing to better handle them. So if you find yourself really getting caught up in day-to-day activities and not spending time on prospecting, you need to, refocus yourself and start, being more intentional on certain activities, kind of that 80-20 rule, that you want to get done. So it's kind of a constant refocus. And also as you grow your business, then as you move forward, there's kind of different, volume, for example, when you get a lot more business, that kind of throws some different obstacles in your path than when you're first starting out.
And looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 5 years?
Well, my number one goal is to continue to service my clients at a really high rate. And for the past 7 years, Portland Monthly here in the Portland, Oregon area has been giving out this 5-star real estate agent award. And it's based on client satisfaction as reported by clients and other professionals in the real estate field. And I've been chosen for this award every year it's been, given out. And, I put this tagline together like 12 years ago when I first got into real estate, and it's integrity in all things, service beyond expectations, and ingenuity to think outside the box for the benefit of my clients. And what I found is those things are still really important today. I think if I keep focusing on those, I'm going to be where I need to be.
Excellent. And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have continual growth?
Well, I think it's really important for people to see the real me. And I think that's the case with any agent. Bottom line is I really care about my clients. And one of my clients actually put it very succinctly, and I could say I was a little bit surprised when I read his testimonial, but he really got me. And he said this: Kim Childs is one of those agents you love to discover, the one who will go all out on your behalf, the one to whom commission is simply a reward for results and not the primary motivating factor in a client-agent relationship. Her job, as she sees it, is to help you achieve your goals. Her integrity is solid and her work ethic is exceptional, and the sale of my home involved a few unusual issues, which she helped me navigate with clarity and purpose, and I'm proud to call her my broker. And he ended it with, she will give you everything she's got. And that's service. That's what I want to give my clients. And I think when they understand me, they get that that's what they're getting.
And I think sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value they provide from both a buyer and a seller standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
It's hard to know because I don't know that I've been privy to a lot of that, but I have had people over the years make comments about, I'm in it for myself. I want them to buy a home that's more expensive so they can, my commission will be bigger. I don't even look at that. I mean, for some reason, some people seem to think that real estate agents slant the truth or the situation to their own betterment. And I can honestly say that in the 12 and a half years that I've been doing real estate, I've not been witness to that. What I have seen is real estate agents defending their clients and watching out for their clients' objectives, not the agents. So I think there's a little misconception there in that regard.
And let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state and they want to sell their home. Now, obviously, with your experience and being part of Keller Williams, you could easily look up an agent and do a referral. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
Well, it probably doesn't surprise you, but I've had this happen. And what I tell my friends and family who have asked this question is to look for someone who, number one, has your best interests at heart. So when you're interviewing them, ask them some questions to get a sense of that. And then number two, someone that you feel comfortable communicating with. When you hire a real estate agent, you really are connected at the hip, and it needs to be a good fit. And a good agent will get any questions or concerns answered timely and communicated, no matter how experienced he or she is.
And obviously, you're based out of the Portland, Oregon area. And if somebody's looking for real estate services or an agent in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Well, an easy way is just to Google me, and the first thing that comes up is my current website, which is kimchilds@kw.com. But you can also call me at 503-351-5445, or email me, whatever. It's all out there on the web, so very easily accessible.
And, well, obviously, Kim, we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience with our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Kim, obviously go to her site, like she said. Also, below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information we have so you can see how she can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.